It's time to realize that the V8 revolution is over.
Nope.
Long live electricity.
Because, like, why would you buy Infiniti in Europe when you could go buy a German car?
How many cars do you think, on average, an Infiniti dealer sells per month in the United States? I know this answer.
I have no idea.
24.
A month?
Yes, per Infiniti dealer.
How are they open?
So, Evo, you hate the future of cars.
I hate the future.
You hate the future. You want to go back to the past. Well, the past isn't around anymore. There is no more past.
But I don't like
We're
that.
on to 2025. It's time to realize that the V8 revolution is over.
Nope.
Long live electricity. So today we're talking about
This guy's Thomas Edison or something.
top predictions for cars in 2025.
Thomas Edison over here.
I mean,
I'm Evo.
and you're watching Accelerate. So Evo,
What's up, Thomas?
it's time. No more V8s.
That's not true.
Look at Mercedes.
What about him?
They want at least $150,000 for a car with a V8 in it. I'll say $130,000.
S63. S580.
Okay, fine. Those. Okay, so let's say 120 grand. What do you think is going on? Let's talk about powertrains first. I want to see what you think is going to happen with powertrains.
Clearly, everyone's downsizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the reality of the world. It sucks, but it seems like that's kind of where we're headed, which is unfortunate. It really is. I mean, we're putting 4 cylinders in cars that should have V8s. We're putting just smaller engines. But I mean, it honestly, though, in all seriousness, it really is amazing what they're able to get out of these engines.
Yes.
With low displacement. You know, it used to be there's no replacement for displacement. Now there is. Hybrid powertrains, turbos, superchargers, whatever you want to use. It really is amazing what they're getting out of these cars. I mean,
I think, so there's two sides to every coin. I think we've done a lot over the last couple of years to really push EV and hybrid tech in cars.
I still don't think the grid's there, though.
I don't even think the American public wants to switch.
No.
I think the middle ground is a healthy mix. I think that's where we're going to end up as a healthy mix. But I also think manufacturers for automobiles are going to, I would at least hope, stop with the phase out of these ICE engines.
Well, they have to. And I mean, a lot of them have gone back
because of
on
environmental
No. I'm saying that they have to stop the phase out because it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
And we've seen it happen with a lot of these manufacturers, like Porsche was talking about going all electric. And who else was saying that they were going to be all electric by 2030 or something like that? It was another German company. VW, maybe?
I think it was VW.
I don't know. Somebody was saying it, but it's not going to happen. You know, we have the joke that is Jaguar.
Yeah, Jaguar sucks. We should hate out Jaguar.
They're going all electric, apparently.
Yeah, they are.
With their new brick mobile.
We should hate Jaguar.
Should.
Who gets rid of the cat?
What do you mean they got rid of the cat? They got rid of it?
Yeah, it's
like
not
the
in
Jaguar.
The logo it's not in the logo anymore.
What is it now?
Jaguar spelled out.
Why?
That's the laziest thing ever.
Why?
I don't know. They put woke people in.
Oh.
And now...
Well,
that might be a little controversial.
Isn't there a new brand thing like copy nothing?
Yeah.
Are they copying other companies now?
I don't know what they're doing. The vision or the 0 concept that they did looks like a Rolls-Royce Spectre.
Well, it looks like the Walmart version of a Rolls-Royce Spectre.
Yeah, and they still want a lot of money for it, presumably. And, Jaguar's doing their own thing, I think...
what happened to the F-Type? How awesome that was.
Well, it was just the same thing that happened to the XKR. It's not around anymore.
Why not?
Because it's got a big old V8 under the hood.
So?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you want an F-Type, you can go pick one up from like a 2021 to 2022 model between 50 and 70 grand. They're much cheaper than they were new now. So you can go pick up an F-Type R.
That's crazy how cheap those cars are.
Which is cool because those cars are nice. Reliability.
You pick like a 2015 up for like 27 grand.
Oh, yeah. If you want the OG F-Type, then yeah, you'll be paying pennies. You could get a Camry for more than you can get an OG F-Type R4. So, yeah, go get yourself one of those. I mean, it might explode because it's a 5-liter supercharged V8 from Jaguar, but, who knows? I think I think there's a healthy mix to be found. I think what Tesla's doing and what like I hope that Rivian stays around because I really like what they were doing with like their off-road electric vehicles with the R1T.
Well, they're doing good. Their numbers aren't bad,
They're not horrible,
and
but
they're
they
also
could
being
be
financed
better.
by Amazon with all those
Yeah,
vans.
the Amazon vans. That's really what's propping up Rivian right now. It is not their consumer sales; it's their enterprise corporate sales that is propping up Rivian right now. But I really hope they stay around because I like their products. Lucid, these specialized electric car
Lucid's too expensive, man.
Lucids are too expensive, but I want there to be a section of the market where these brands that specialize in EVs make really cool EVs. That's what I want. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. This transition where these large pre-existing automotive manufacturers like Ford, VW, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Chevy, I don't think the transition to electric is going to be as easy as they think it is because you have pre-existing consumers that want ICE engines, right? If they wanted a Tesla, they would have gone and bought an electric car from Tesla. But they stuck with you because you sell ICE cars or the stuff that, your car just in general, they want that from your brand. If you're looking for a Tahoe, right, with a big old 6.2 liter V8 under the hood, you're not going to Tesla and saying, maybe I want a Model X instead. No, you're looking for something that is either comparable to a Tahoe, which there's not any other car like it other than another GM product that has a V8.
What about the Expedition?
Well, that's a V6.
Oh, you're talking about a V8?
Yeah, I'm talking about
okay,
V8.
okay.
So I'm like, but if
you could go get like a GLS.
You could with a V8, or if you wanted to have a V6, twin turbo V6, and you didn't care, you get an Expedition. But like, you're not going and seeking out electric versions of those cars.
Oh, true.
So like, I don't think
you know what you want.
You know what you want. So I think when people like the pre-existing IC auto manufacturers should stick to what they're good at. I get environmental regulations with the EPA and the European environmental agencies and everything like that. I understand that and to an extent, but they're not saying get rid of everything.
Yeah.
There needs to be a healthy mix, and I think like companies like Ford, bless their heart, they really try to go in with the Mach-E and the Lightning and with their hybrid tech, which on some cars it makes sense, like the Escape hybrids and stuff like that. Fine. That gives better gas mileage. Those cars are economical. They're supposed to be economical. But like the Mach-E and the Lightning were flops.
Yeah.
Because you tried to take an F-150, the formula of which you can still get a 5-liter V8. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I talked about Ford. Yeah, the Coyote 5-liter V8 or twin turbo V6 or even a hybrid V6. Perfect. But who told you to turn around and make an electric version of that? No one wanted that. People want the 5-liter V8 or the really torquey.
Are they not selling the Lightnings?
They sell Lightnings.
No, I'm saying, people are not buying them?
When's the last time you saw Lightning on the road?
I mean, I know the Mach-E's aren't selling, but I know about the Lightning.
No, Lightnings aren't selling.
Wow.
But their electric transition has gone horribly. Compared to like, it's not like in the market share between like their electric cars eating into their ICE cars. The ICE cars still maintain a large majority over the electric cars that Ford sells. And this isn't like this isn't just only Ford. Look at Porsche.
Well,
yep.
Porsche
with the Taycan. I mean, the Taycan is a fantastic looking car. I get the concept. The technology is great, but like they're depreciating at 50% to 50% of their value within the first like 2 or 3 years, and you can just get a Panamera, which might hold its value a little better. It's not a 911, but like you already have these pre-existing ICE luxury cars. Why are you trying to eat into that side of your brand, especially with the Taycan and Panamera?
I heard rumors that they're going to put an engine in a Taycan.
I want them to do it because that body's awesome.
I don't think so. Here's what I think.
But then it's just a Panamera.
I think the way they have it split up is fine now. Because apparently the Cayenne within the next 2 to 3 years is going to have a EV hybrid version.
Oh, yeah. Now
actually, they already have a hybrid.
Now they have the Macan EV.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, if you want an SUV from Porsche, get a Macan EV. And you want an electric, there you go. If you want the gas or the hybrid, you get the Cayenne. If you want an electric car from Porsche, get the Taycan.
Yeah.
If you want a gas-powered car, get the Panamera.
But
and then the 911 offers you a hybrid or gas. If you don't want that, you can go get the new Boxster Cayman EV thing. Mm-hmm. Porsche's kind of doing it right. I don't mind what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they're Taycans. They just need to figure out what's going on with that because right now they're a horrible buy for any kind of.
Oh, they're terrible. You buy one for $180,000. If you try to sell it already, you're going to lose $100,000.
Yeah, I think I think there's going to be a lot of rollback on what we all saw from these pre-existing manufacturers, like the ones that build ICE engines, where they're like, oh, we're going to go EV, we're going to save the planet, all this stuff. Okay, well, the planet wasn't dying from car emissions. If you looked up the science behind it, it isn't. But it's this, oh, we're going to go all electric, or we plan on being an electric within the next 10 years. And then people are like, well, I don't want an electric car because of the power grid, and I don't want to raise my power bill. And, I don't believe in that movement or that change in powertrain type. And all these brands went in on it and were like, yeah, we're going to do this regardless of what our customers want. And they turn around and they realize, oh my gosh, our customers don't want this and we're losing money. We're bleeding because we pushed this so hard and didn't do any kind of market research into whether people actually wanted the cars or not. You can't tell me Ford did market research on the Mach-E. You just can't tell me that. Because, one, you propped up the model with another model's name, and then now they're not selling.
Yeah.
So did you do any kind of market research into that, into your consumers before you turned around and put it on the market? Because clearly no one wants them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because at first the data showed that, yes, people are going to want them, and then they came out and people hated them because it wasn't what they wanted. But, like, the person who's done EVs right are people like Tesla, which they're about the only people who have done EVs right, because their entire brand revolves around it, right? And they have set up infrastructure themselves, private infrastructure, Tesla EV chargers, and Teslas are cheaper than a majority of their ICE competitors. So it makes sense for people to go buy a Tesla. And they come with 8-year, 100,000-mile warranties on them. Like, there is no reason, there's no real argument as to why you shouldn't buy a Tesla unless it's a preference thing, which is fine. I mean, if people prefer gas engines. Honestly, I prefer gas engines over electric. I just like the price of my Tesla. But when you have these ICE manufacturers trying to make this huge switch in a span of a decade, when they don't have the infrastructure supporting it, they're not doing their own infrastructure. They're relying on another private company to do it, like Electrify America, which I think Ford heavily invested in. But, like, if you don't have that infrastructure, then you're going to fall flat on your face because you just expect people to, like, oh, we're going to charge them at home. It's going to be so great. No more gas station runs. No, because a 120-volt charger in a house charges, like, at the speed of a snail. So there was never any infrastructure to support the entire switch anyways, which we all thought there was going to be. It's going to be hybrids by 2030. No, or all electric by 2030. No, it's not. It can't be. That's 5 years away. The majority of EV charging stations are Tesla, and Tesla started opening them up to other people to use. Like, I saw a Chevy EV Blazer at a Tesla station charging the other day. But there's no infrastructure. Or you're just going to make Tesla more money because you're using their charging infrastructure, which is fine. I don't care. It makes me money on stocks, but, like, there was never this. It was like it was never thought through.
So what do you think about these new electric pickup trucks that are coming out? Like the Silverado EV, the Ram EV, the REV?
I don't know, because the Lightning was such a flop.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time believing, like, maybe there'll be more adoption because there's more models, so the Lightning actually gets a competitor. But, like, I don't.
Because the Lightning isn't a bad driving truck.
No, it's fine, and it makes a lot of torque, and it comes in a bunch of different trim levels that multiple people can buy. Except if you want anything that's comparable to, like, a Lariat or a Platinum, you're paying loads. You could spec one well next to $100,000.
That's crazy.
For a truck, for an F-150, where the ICE version is cheaper and is more reliable, and you can fill up in 5 minutes at a gas station instead of turning around and having to either go find a charging station or plugging it in at your home and waiting for that battery to charge.
Yeah.
So how I feel about Chevy with the Silverado EV and Dodge or Ram with the Ram EV, like, honestly, I don't know how that's going to go for them, because Ford had the balls to do it first, which it's good that they wanted to be an industry leader, which is honestly why I think they did it. They wanted to be at the forefront of it rather than, I don't know if they knew it would work.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to be the first ones to do it. So everyone could see, oh, Ford started this whole thing. But
they experimented too much.
They experimented too much, and they put all their eggs in a basket that they shouldn't have. But anyways, I think I don't know how the Silverado and the Ram EV are going to do, because honestly, if they've looked at the F-150 Lightning, it was just a kind of flop. And
Yeah.
Ford did the exact same thing with the F-150 Lightning that they did with the Mustang. F-150 Lightning, really?
Yeah.
Like
Mustang Mach-E.
Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning. You couldn't have found any, or you could
Just called it the Mach-E.
or yeah, the Mach-E, or call it the F-150 EV, and then give it the normal trim levels that you do on the regular F-150. Why do you have to use either another model's name or a dead name like Lightning to prop up the sales of a car? And it didn't even work. You just kind of soiled what Lightning meant.
Yeah.
Which was, if you didn't know, an incredibly fast truck that competed with the Typhoon and the...
Not really the Typhoon. Typhoon was early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. It was the original Lightning, but it really competed
not
with...
the one from the early 2000s.
Oh, then the original one, yeah. It also competed with, like, the Chevy 454 SS.
Yeah, like, you just shouldn't have muddled with that brand name, because now Lightning is just an embarrassing thing to say. Oh, I have an F-150 Lightning. Like, the EV? No, the one from the 90s. And like, you know what I mean? It's like, it was just a horrible... Like, you could have called it the F-150 EV because your exercise to use Lightning didn't work. Neither did Mustang Mach-E. And if it did, I'd see a lot more of them on the road, which, to be fair, Mach-E's I do see. Lightnings I don't.
Yeah.
But I think that's because Mach-E's kind of had more of a push, and they're decent looking. You know, they're not horrible looking cars, and they're pretty nice on the inside. It's just like people have complaints about reliability and and sustainability and the charging and everything like that because they don't charge as fast as Teslas or Taycans. So I think it really just depends on the person. But in my opinion, Chevy doing it, Ford doing it, Dodge doing it, I don't know how it's going to go because Ford kind of proved that it didn't.
What about the Dodge Charger EV?
Shoot me. Okay, I wasn't a big fan of the Charger or the Challenger to begin with.
What?
Because, and I can't say this because I'm a BMW fan and I really like the M5. Boat or not, but the reason is I think Stellantis as an entire auto group is lazy, and it's been before the removal and the outing of the gas versions of those cars. It had been like 8 years since we got a refresh on those cars or something along those lines. But I'd rather have a V8 Charger and Challenger in a lineup for some kind of, uniqueness and variety than let's take, granted, they're doing the Hurricane Inline 6 for that car too, aren't they? Not the EV version, but the Charger, which is now it's still a sedan, right?
So it's a sedan and a two-door.
And a two-door, but they're both Chargers.
Yeah, the Challenger's dead.
The Challenger's dead. The Charger's here as a coupe or sedan. You can get it with the Hurricane Inline 6, which is a great engine. Great, fantastic. And twin-turbo Inline 6, I'm glad to see it. But then you got rid of your 6.4-liter and your supercharged 6.2-liter and your 5.7-liter. And now, instead of having the last bastion of American V8 sedans, now you're sticking an EV powertrain in it. Granted, it makes quite a bit of power. I think 595 at the top end if you get the top level trims. But you put, instead of embracing it being an EV, you put fake exhaust on it. Why didn't you just keep the V8? I understood why they had to kill the Hellcat engine. Understood. Environmental regulations, you're probably getting fined out the butt for it. Got it. You can't tell me that you couldn't keep at least the 6.4-liter around if you were going to do the EV. There's trade-offs here. I mean, these private companies bargain with these environmental protection agencies all the time. There wasn't some kind of trade-off you could have done. And I know there's carbon tax credits and all this other stuff that they have to go through. But, there's no way you couldn't say, screw the 5.7, screw the 6.2, we're going to keep the 6.4, or at least been we'll get rid of the 6.4 and the 5.7 and keep the 6.2 as a very high-level engine. But no, instead of keeping one V8, you said, screw all the V8s, here's an inline 6, and then we're going to take this fake powertrain, or we're going to take this powertrain and give it a fake V8 noise. What was the point? What are you doing? Why? You just isolated 75% of the people who want to buy your car. And it's not like the interior quality or reliability of those cars. I mean, to be fair, those engines were never unreliable before because Dodge has used those engines for so long because they're reliable. But the quality, at least, it's not like that's getting better.
Yeah.
You've isolated 75% of your buyers, and now it's not like you can make your interior look pretty all you want. Knowing Dodge, it's just going to be plastic crap like it always is. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I saw some pictures of it the other day, and the interior looked pretty nice. But
Mhm.
well, you know, from pictures you could say anything. But who knows? I mean, we're just gonna have to wait until we get one and find out. I don't like the EV. I don't like the fact that they put cat sounds in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like what? Like
Cat sound.
what are we doing? And then they killed off the Challenger nameplate. Now it's the Charger Challenger or Charger. You get a 4-door, 2-door, which is I don't know how that's going. Maybe a little confusing, but
I guess like
we'll see.
I mean, BMW found out that that was not a stupid idea, but BMW stopped doing that back in 2013 or 12 or whenever the E92 ended and the E90 ended. But like, there was no reason to kill the Challenger because the reason they were brought back in the first place was because they were classics from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason they were brought back together in the first place.
Yeah.
Except the Charger wasn't a sedan back in the 70s. It was a coupe, but the Challenger was a coupe, and they brought back the Charger as a sedan. Great idea on their part because guess what? They got to make they got to do the they got to do the 300C, the Maserati Ghibli, on this same platform, all on this same platform, which is a great money saving idea. But like now you're coming out with this EV thing, and it's just like, dude, come on, it wasn't necessary. Like I don't like Dodge, but I liked what they stood for when they had the V8s when no one else did.
Yeah.
Now
they don't.
I don't feel that way because now you don't have the powertrains I want, which means you stand for nothing that I care about. You're using a fake EV exhaust noise. Your cars are not high quality and they're made of plastic junk, and you're going to charge out the butt for it.
I
So
wonder what they're gonna do with the SUVs. I think they might have killed the Durango.
did they kill the Durango? Man, Chrysler doesn't even make anything anymore. They make a Pacifica, and that's
They make a
about it.
minivan. That's it.
The Pacifica
That's literally it.
minivan. I don't know what's going to happen to the Durango.
I know that the CEO of Stellantis stepped down.
He should have because he's an idiot. Because this I'm sorry, but this whole direction they've been going for the last 10 years, where we're not going to update cars other than throw bigger engines and hope people spend over $100,000 on cars
Let's
that are
just
the
pray
same.
that they'll do it.
Like,
Well, they had a market for it. People were buying them.
people bought them because of the motor.
Hellcat.
And because they looked, honestly, the Charger, the high-end Charger trim levels looked cool. Like, I'll give it that. They were super aggressive, and they looked really gnarly and everything like that. But, like, come on. You got rid of it, which means you're basically the American Nissan at this point. No one wants you. They just have to buy you.
Speaking of Nissan, I think they're going to die soon.
Oh, 2025. Honda is taking an interest in them.
Really?
Yes, and I can't remember the other company. It starts with an E, but I think they're a private equity firm, maybe, or they're an investment firm.
Interesting.
But Nissan as a brand as we know it today will be dead next year.
That's crazy.
Because I believe Honda is going to buy them and change the way the brand is. I think they're going to keep like the Rogue and the Altima around and everything, and they're going to probably do a huge refresh on them. But I think Nissan as we know it today by sometime next year will be dead.
What about the GTRs and whatnot?
Well, I mean, they've not done anything but special one-off GTRs in years because of they just.
What about the Z?
Man, what a flop!
Is it?
Like, I thought it was so cool,
Like probably.
but
is
I've
cool.
not. I mean, I'm sure it is, but I've not seen a single one in real life.
I just heard that the Z is a bigger, like a smaller, more sporty Q50. Same powertrain.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah,
What's the same powertrain?
Twin turbo V6. Yeah, and I mean, you get a manual.
You get a manual. Yeah.
You get a pretty nice.
Oh, they released a
looking
Nismo version.
Yeah, what do they want? Another $30,000.
Well, it's got a paint and some red stripes.
Do you remember when they did that with the 370Z?
They did it for everything.
And they wanted a ridiculous price for the
Yes.
370, and it was just like atrociously bad.
Well, it was just paint
A
and stripes.
body kit and like some stripes for the 370Z Nismo.
Oh,
That
that's so sick.
stupidest thing. And then they did a Nismo GTR, and the GTR Nismo was like $200,000 new. And I'm like, are you guys crazy? You're Nissan. You're not Porsche.
Yeah.
But like Nissan, I know they have what they said is they have I want to say half a year of working capital.
Wow. Damn. Because Nissan's been around for a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, I think when they became Nissan from Datsun, that's when it ended. They had about 10 good years because the old Altimas from back in the early 2000s, though people loved those things because they were reliable and they worked and they did everything they were supposed to. And then we got into like the late 2000s.
Well, the CVT just
And the CVT,
Their
when they
CVT era.
started using the CVT, downhill. because those things suck.
Oh yeah.
Every time my family or me have rented a Nissan rental car, it has problems because they beat the living garbage out of that CVT and they do not last. They're horrible. Their investment in CVT technology has sucked and has done nothing for them.
I wonder why they did that.
You should have just stuck with a 6-speed torque converter that's cheap and works every time.
I mean, Honda and Toyota CVTs work pretty well.
They do, but that's because they have the capital to keep reinvesting into them and to making them work better, and they keep reinventing it. And then a lot of their cars.
But what has Nissan been doing?
Well, I don't know. Making the Altima look
the Hood Altima?
Crappy?
The Hood Altima?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what Nissan's been doing because every time I look at that brand, I'm disappointed. Yeah. Other than the 400Z.
Well, dude, you got to remember the freaking, oh my God, the freaking 370 came out in 2008.
And it sold till 2018 or something?
No, like 2020.
Oh my God.
Like, what? Dude, come on. I mean, the GTR, they just killed it this year. It came out in 2009.
The Armada and the Rogue.
The Frontier?
They have sales numbers, and the Frontier has sales numbers. The Frontier, Armada, and Rogue have sales number, along with the Altima, the Versa, and the Sentra. But that's because the Altima, Sentra, and Versa are cheap.
Yeah.
And that's because
the cheaper versions of the other cars.
The Armada's nice, from what I've seen. The Rogue is a great value family car.
Yeah.
And the Frontier, no, let's garbage this. The Frontier should not exist because it is nowhere next to what the Tacoma Ranger Colorado can offer.
Yeah.
The Frontier is a cheap, though when we reviewed it, it had great towing capacity for its price. But what was it? Like the Tacoma was cheaper? Or the Ranger was cheaper?
Well, starting prices.
The starting price of the Ranger was cheaper, but when you spec'd it up, both of them up, the Ranger was like $2,000 more, but offered like 20% better performance for only like a 10% price increase. It didn't make any sense to buy a Frontier.
Yeah.
So like,
well, you know what? I think Nissan's the next Mitsubishi.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
That's crazy.
For sure. And Mitsubishi pulled out. The difference is that and Nissan might have this. I don't know much about Nissan's foreign subsidiaries. Like, you know, Mitsubishi is Mitsubishi Electric, and they do ACs and everything like that. So that's different. Like, the automotive side of Mitsubishi was
they still sell cars in
They do.
the U.S.?
Yes, they do. But, I mean, not many.
Not many, no.
And then they have, like, a more commercial specialized division.
True.
And then they sell cars well in Asia.
Oh, yeah.
But the problem is like, they were propping up the U.S. side of operations, I think, with the foreign subsidiaries.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Well, Nissan, I don't know what Nissan
does
their sales
outside
numbers,
of auto.
No, they sell cars outside of the U.S.
The U.S., yes.
But yeah, but I don't know if they're
the brand up.
Yeah, I don't know if they're good or not. Who knows?
I don't see many. I was in Japan 5 months ago or 4 months ago, and I didn't see a single Nissan.
Damn.
And they're Japanese.
Damn. Yeah. Well, Infiniti died in Europe because nobody was buying them. Because, like, why would you buy Infiniti in Europe when you could go buy a German car?
How many cars do you think, on average, an Infiniti dealer sells per month in the United States? I know this answer.
How do you know this answer? You looked it up?
I was watching a Doug DeMuro video.
Oh, I have no idea.
24.
A month?
Yes. Per Infiniti dealer.
How are they open?
There's roughly 200 of them in the U.S. So they're selling.
Wow.
They're selling 4,800 cars a month new.
Wow.
Or roughly 60,000 a year. 60,000 new cars a year from an Infiniti. Ford sells 60,000 new cars in like 3 weeks.
That's crazy. Holy crap.
Actually, I'll look that up because I want to know. I want to know the actual number on that. How many new cars does Ford sell a month? Ford sold 166,000 vehicles in November of 2023. In 1 month, 166,000 vehicles. So what Ford does in a month, Infiniti does nearly a third of that in an entire year. How can you prop up a brand that sells subpar luxury cars?
They're not very good.
That are basically trumped up Nissan Maximas, and then expect to survive when you're selling 60,000 new cars a year? That's atrociously bad.
Yeah.
And you know who's buying Infinitis? 16 to 18-year-olds who want to rice out and straight pipe their car. That's who's buying Infinitis.
What, G35s?
G35s, G37s, and Q50s, and maybe Q60s. Q60 looks cool, but it's not like that car.
What about their, like, what was the QX80, the big one, the Armada, basically?
Yeah.
Is that selling? No.
No. What do you think? Do you see QX80s area?
Damn, 24 cars a month or
Per month, per
that's
dealer.
crazy. What?
So what they're doing is
How do they hire people?
So what they're doing is they're allowing Nissan franchises to actually include Infiniti under the brand name, and they'll sell both on one location to save money. So they don't have to have two stores anymore. It helps Nissan the franchises that own both, or the companies that own both a Nissan and Infiniti franchise. They can combine it into one dealer now, get rid of the Infiniti store to help them save a lot of money.
That's interesting.
Now, I'm not saying Nissan is going to die as an entire. Nissan probably will never go away, especially if Honda buys them or they have a big like cash flow injection, which they need, and they need to just stop listening to what Renault headquarters tells them to do. Because Renault is the worst thing that ever happened to Nissan. The worst thing that ever happened to Nissan. Before
Renault? You don't like Renault?
No.
Oh.
Before them, Nissan was a great brand. You got to think this is the same company that came out with the what was it the 280Z?
Yeah.
The 280Z.
That was a Datsun.
Yeah, back when it was Datsun. Fantastic car. The 370Z when it came out for the first time. Fantastic. The GTR broke records. What happened to that Nissan? Now we have this like garbage pile. You know the meme where it's the stick figure poking at it with a stick saying "do something." Like that's what Nissan is now. They're going to become the next Mitsubishi if they don't do what they have to do to fix their brand. So if they don't, Nissan will be dead in 2025 because there's no way. You have 180 days of working cash flow. Yeah, you're not going to have to be able to do much with that.
Crazy predictions for 2025. Dead brands, EVs. What else? I mean, what else are we going to be seeing?
I mean, I think car design is not going to change much. I know we talked about that in a short. I think car design, for the most part, is going to stay pretty consistent. We've been on this new thing recently, sharper headlights, getting heavier and fatter, because for whatever reason, it's not the American brands either. It's the German brands that are getting fatter, which is funny, right? That's ironic, considering they call Americans fat all the time.
True.
The American cars are getting slimmer and faster, and the European brands are getting fatter and slower.
Interesting.
What's going on with that?
Interesting.
So I think, but I don't think styling is going to change. BMW, especially in the way of things, because they're always.
Well, they fired the guy.
They did fire the guy that designed it.
Good thing, because those cars are ass.
Which ones?
The i7.
Oh yeah.
The iX.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently they're gonna kill the iX.
It wasn't. Oh, they need to. That car's
terrible.
The only thing it had going for it is the highest trim level with their Bowers and Wilkins sound system was rated like one of the top on the market, but that doesn't matter because the car sucked. Was that the designer who did the M3, M4? Yeah, but those cars look good.
What
And
about
the
the
M2?
i4 and the iX and the i7 and things like
The
that?
i7 needed a grill downsize and why the pinstripe headlights. I don't know. The i7 I don't think looked terrible once you like looked at it for a bit, but it was like one of those people where it's like you get used to the looks of someone. That was the i7. The i5 isn't bad. I don't think the new 5 Series is too terrible, but its front looks a little wonky. But yeah, BMW needs some help in the styling department, but I don't think they're going to change. You got to think that's also the guy that refreshed the 3 Series and did the LCI, and the LCI 3 Series looked great. So he wasn't a horrible designer. I think it just their brand and the customers didn't really align on what they wanted. But overall, I don't think much is going to change in the way of styling. Technology. Listen, a lot of people like with technology. I know there's a big split group. People want the old way it was back in like 2020, where it's like we were at a great middle ground where screens and buttons and everything kind of worked together, and now we're pushing towards this buttonless world where everything's in a screen, which is dangerous to do while driving. I hate it on my Tesla. Sometimes changing the climate control is a bitch and a half, and it shouldn't be. But I think there's a healthy middle ground that we had, and we're not quite at that healthy middle ground anymore. It's not going to change. I think we're going to see a lot more AI inclusion in cars, artificial intelligence, large language models type stuff in cars, especially cloud-based ones, for better, like I think we're going to do a lot with like car setting preferences, air conditioning, things like that, what music you like, your destinations, stuff like that for built-in navigation systems. I think Google is making a really big push on trying to get into more automotive infotainment systems. Ford dropped Sync in the new 2025 Explorer in lieu for wanting Android Automotive, which is not the same as Android Auto. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Chevy did the same back in like 2019, 2020. Great idea because those OSs. The Sync looks like dog crap compared to Android Automotive. And the same with MyLink from Chevy, Chevy MyLink looked like garbage compared to Android Automotive. So I think there's going to be a lot of that. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to see for when these manufacturers realize that you can't just I think they did kind of realize it because remember for the first version of iDrive 8, the climate controls were like buried in menus and stuff like that. And then when iDrive 8.1 came out, they put it like solid on the screen. It was immovable. It was always there. I think technology is getting to a point in cars where we're gonna kind of start seeing just more AI use, machine learning use, things like that, and then hopefully it doesn't get to a point where everyone sticks one big screen in the center and we don't do gauge clusters because I hate that about the Teslas.
Yeah.
Other than if you buy a Model S, which that interior is great, but I don't know. Self-driving tech's gotten really good, very good. I mean, a lot of times it saves people's lives, especially when they're not paying attention. Some guy decides to run a red light or something. Those self-driving things are great. Yeah, tech in cars I'm excited for. I just don't want it to be so user-friendly because at one point sticking everything in a screen like it's an iPad is kind of detrimental to the car's usability. But performance is always going to be an increase, though, right?
Always.
You're never going to see a decrease in performance in cars.
Right.
So
unless you're Nissan. But let us know down below. What do you guys think? Did we hit some stuff or we missed some stuff? Please let us know and make sure you stick around. We have more stuff like this coming.
Yeah. So. Thanks for watching.